Today I want to plunge into literature, which is my usual subject of the Unani research, and you see it also in my virtual background. I wrote Where's a Patient, and I think, of course, he's mentioned in the case history, but the problem is that there he's only an object. What do I want to say? The literal genre of the case history dates back to Hippocrates, of course. Their accounts were retrospective, and the focus was on relevant clinical findings and the accuracy. Is there any problem? Oh, okay, can you everybody hear me? I think I have just one problem in my everything
No,
fine?
We hear you okay.
Fine. And the physician, according to the Hippocratean case history, is only an observer of the patient. So what do I mean with it? For example, it is an example of a case history from Hippocrates. In Tarsus, a woman of a melancholic turn of mind from some accidental cause of sorrow, etc., etc. You can see we only have some things mentioned. She was melancholic, a woman, and the other things about her and are not mentioned there. The case history changed a lot under the Galenic tradition from the 3rd century onwards. He is sometimes criticized for not being discreet, meaning that he mentioned a lot of things about the patient, for example, names, and also things like psychological things about the patients. But above all, Galen mentions himself as a subject. So the doctor was the subject. It means, for example, I was called in to see a woman who was stated to be sleepless at night and to lie tossing about from one position to another. So it means that the whole case history of Galen is focused on himself and on his personal experience with the patient. We do not know get any information from the patient or about So it means case histories reflect either medical theories of Unani medicine or give retrospective success stories of the treatment of a disease and of patient. The patient remains passive, meaning an object of the case history. He or she is observed, but doesn't give, we do not know about his or her feelings. So what did change from them? So I mean, then from a certain period of time into literature, autobiography was introduced. Meaning a certain kind of feeling oneself, being myself, was introduced into literature. Of course, this from the beginning was only an experience with the very well-off, the rulers and some distinguished persons like Sufis and Islamic scholars who wrote autobiographies. And to me, Nuruddin Jahangir, or the famous Mughal ruler, the son of, sorry, there's a spelling mistake, Jalaluddin Akbar, he is my favorite, I would say, Mughal ruler, because his autobiography contains a lot of information about biology, the fauna and flora, and the medicine of Hindustan. So I have found, which I think is a very interesting example in his Tuzuk Jahangiri, the Jahangir, also called Jahangirnama, his autobiography. Let us plunge into it. And Jahangir, he says, I found this story so interesting and so strange that I record it here. This is Asaf Khan's daughter. She said, one day I saw a mouse in the courtyard of a house. It was staggering and breathing this way, and that though it was drunk. It was going in all directions and didn't know where it was going. I told one of the maidservants to catch it by the tail and throw it to the cat. The cat leapt up in the delight and took the mouse in its mouth, but it put it down at once and made its distaste obvious. Little by little signs of distress and suffering came across its face. The next day it was nearly dead. It occurred to me that it should be dosed with a little antidote. Why its mouth was forced open, the inside of its mouth and the tongue looked black. It was in a terrible state for 3 days, but on the 4th day it came to, continued, after that a maidservant got a plague fever. She had such distress and pain there was no consoling her. Her color, too, changed to blackish yellow. She got a raging fever, and the next day she had uncontrollable vomiting and diarrhea, and she died. 7 or 8 people in the house died in the same manner. This means that, interestingly, Jahangir has perfectly described so-called zoonosis, meaning something, the plague jumping from an animal to a human being. And this, of course, was not obvious and known to all the doctors, neither in West or in the Orient. So it was, I listed some data on the discovery of the pest bacteria, and it was only Alexandre Emile Yersin who discovered the bacteria of the pest in 1894. And Yersin further discovered that there was a connection between the outbreak of the pest in Singapore and the death of local rat population in the same time. Meaning, Jahangir had obviously seen something and seen a connection between infection between animals and human beings before. And I think this is very interesting that he has written it down in his own autobiography, because it's nothing medical at all. So, and I have found another example, just to mention it because I'm still a very big fan of it. My research subject is the Begums of Bhopal. You see Sultan Jahan Begum, the fourth Begum of Bhopal, in a line of 4 women rulers. She ruled Bhopal from 1901 till 1926. And on the right-hand side, you can see her daughter, Bilkis Jahan Begum. And in her autobiography, which is called Suzuki Sultani, she wrote that poor Bilkis Jahan, at the age of 12, suffered from fever and pain in the chest. And there were deep black lines under her eyes, and her skin was the color of saffron. We learned from the first time that she was suffering from pneumonia, in Urdu, pneumonia. So, meaning, in this description, it becomes clear that also a medical laywoman, Sultan Jahan Begum, was fully aware of the Unani principles of her time. And it is also very known that she supported Unani medicine in Bhopal during the period of her rule. And so her children, Bilkis and later Bilkis' sister, were treated by Abdul Majid from Delhi and some other famous hakims from Lucknow. Okay, this is the literature of autobiography, but we also have some modern thing of autopathography, which means that patient writes down his or her experience with surviving a certain, mostly surviving a kind of disease. And for example, I have taken 2 very famous, also translated into German. The first one is Reasons to Stay by Matt Haig. It is a story of surviving depression and some anxiety disorders, and the second is Man to Man, which is surviving prostate cancer. So here we have a lot of input of the patient's view in all these autobiographies and biographies, autobiographies, and both contain the person as and the patient as a subject and active part of describing medical things, and also meaning giving the disease a certain sense to the own life. And it both do contain not only feelings and emotions, but also individual observations, which might also be of importance for medical research. So my plea was to open medical research also of Unani to a wide range of genres also, as I wanted to show Indian literature or South Asian literature has such a valuable part of other genres containing medical information. So my plea is to include patients' view into Unani research, literate research. Thank you for your attention. And of course, I'm willing to answer some questions on my email or the organizer's email. And thank you very much, Mohsen Saheb, and of course, Ramkrishna Shah, for giving me the opportunity to present my not so medical views on Unani medicine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Claudia. I would now like to invite Dr. Gazim Akinullah Olawale for his presentation titled Bridging the Gap Between Unani and Traditional African Medicine, a pristine administration to natural healing. Dr. Gazim is a renowned medical expert cum biochemist of Nigerian descent. He is popularly referred to as Dr. Olaki. The innovative and creative acupuncturist is the brain behind the cutting-edge Olaking International Holistic Medicine company located in Lagos, Nigeria. In a career spanning almost a decade, Dr. Gazim has garnered so much educational qualification and experience to sink his roots in the field of naturopathy. As an herbal medicine enthusiast, Dr. Gazim has always dreamt of promoting the gospel of herbal medicine globally. He brought his dream to reality when he became a